And joining me now is Deon Swiggs from rebuildchristchurch.co.nz. Deon, has it been a big couple of weeks in terms of rebuilding in Christchurch?
It's always a big couple of weeks in Christchurch. There's always lots going on. You drive around the city, you can see, lots of stuff happening down Durham Street. The bus exchange is opened. Activity around sort of the central city with the transport plan. There's a lot going on. So, Christchurch is starting to happen.
Let's discuss some funding for Canterbury youth events. What's this about?
So the government have just poured in another $120,000 to youth councils. So this is in Canterbury region, so that's the Christchurch Youth Council, the Waimak and Selwyn Youth Councils. That's to help them with their winter events. So, there's still a little bit of psychosocial issues around, young people getting engaged, what's going on. So this is just a little bit of a helping hand for young people in the city.
The town hall, will it be rebuilt? Will it not be rebuilt? I guess we'll find out tomorrow, or Thursday rather, whether this will be rebuilt. What are your thoughts? Can it be done for $127 million?
It's a really hard question to ask. All of the documents that the council have been given say yes, it can be rebuilt for $127 million. The other thing here that we've got to sort of think about is that if they don't rebuild it, the council will get an indemnity payout of $30 million, and that will go towards the Performing Arts Precinct. If they do rebuild it, they get about $60 million in insurance. So either way, the council's going to have to pour some money into this project, but there's a bit of a toss-up whether we're going to have the full amount as a rebuild or an indemnity payout. So Thursday, they're voting on it again. The previous council has basically said this is going to happen. Hang on,
do we actually know if the payout from the insurance company will be substantial? Do we have that money yet?
Yes, that's been confirmed. So the rebuild, it was insured for $60 million as a rebuild, $30 million is the indemnity payout if they don't rebuild it.
Okay. Victoria Square, no surprises there, Deon. A resounding absolutely not on your Nelly, get stuff, leave the square alone. We knew this was always going to be the case though, didn't we? Look at it, it does not need to be tweaked or changed or whatever. What do you make of this?
Common sense has prevailed here, thankfully. The feedback that's come back from about 2,200 submissions says we want to have curved paths, we want to have the ornamental areas, we want to have civic space in there, but they want better access to the river, they want the rivers to be fixed up, and one of the other feedbacks that came in from the consultation that they've just had is that people want to see a little bit more of the Māori heritage in the site as well. So,
well, hang on, I'm not sure that's the case. That's what maybe Ngāi saying.
This is what the feedback has said. So, this is what we've seen. So now what's going to happen is that the government are going, now the next steps now are, the government are going to come up with another plan. They'll go back out to consult based on that 2,200 submissions. And then hopefully by around September, we'll know exactly what's going to be happening with Victoria Square.
All right. What do you make of the Mayor's long-term plan? It's come in for a bit of flack. It seems like a steady as she goes approach, nothing really substantial or anything new.
From what I understand from reading the submissions for the long-term plan as well, it seems that the Mayor has, in her plan, just gone, okay, listen to that feedback and said, people are really holding on to asset sales. They don't want asset sales as such, but we have a big hole to plug. So staging those out, the rate rise of people don't want rate rises the plan at the moment is 33%. That will come down to 29% over the next 4 years under the Mayor's plan.
You see, what I'm still waiting for, Deon, I want to get your take on this. Do you think the council, though, needs to show some real power, some decision-making in saying, this is not going to be popular, but we're going to do this or that? I'm yet to see that. What are you thinking?
Well, I think they're going to do that in asset sales. We need to free up $750 million. They've said they're going to make that money. They said they're going to sell these assets. And so they've already done that. And now it's about how are they going to do that. So, I think they've actually, a lot of people campaigned saying we don't want asset sales, especially People's Choice. And so now coming out and saying, the hard pill to sell is we need to free up $750 million of capital just to rebuild the city.
Let's talk about a cathedral that doesn't seem to have the infighting that we've come to know, which is a nice thing.
Yes. So the Catholic Cathedral, the Basilica on Barbados Street, $45 million plan to rebuild. This is, or what they're going to do is they're actually going to deconstruct a lot of the church and actually look at the nave, which is the square interior part of the church. And because that got strengthened in about 1990 apparently, and so there might be a lot of, they might be actually able to save that, but but they need to have a look at it. They need to understand what the actual damage is in there, and they also need to understand if the ground conditions, because the eastern part of the church has sunk a little bit. So they're doing all this work, and then they'll be able to know whether they can actually rebuild it or whether it's actually going to be a full demolition and then recovery after that.
It's a beautiful building, isn't it? A beautiful building. Finally, the Cycleways, that's underway. In Riccarton, where on earth is that?
This is quite funny. We put this out on our Facebook page. It's the Unicycleway. And a lot of people were coming back and saying, is this the unicycle? Can you only use unicycles
That's what I thought.
Yes, I thought that as well.
I had images of sort of, that guy used to wear the beard.
Yes, exactly.
That used to turn up at protests doing it.
But so this is the so it's around Metapo Street. I mean, this is only a 300 stretch. This is kind of linking up the university to the centre of the city. So, again, it's just progress happening in the city. This is Cycleways. A lot of people in the share an idea, and in the all these processes over the last few years have said we want to have an accessible city. We want to be able to cycle, and this is going to make it a little bit easier, especially for university students.
Just funny, this isn't on your list, but what do you reckon about Hooters coming to Christchurch? You see, that's planned to come to Christchurch.
Is it? Hooters.
Is it going to be on your Rebuild Christchurch website?
Well, if they're going to build in the central city and they're going to build in this place.
A lot of people on News Talk ZB think it's a great idea.
Hey, look, if it's going to... Well, I wouldn't mind. Let's go out.
You wouldn't mind?
We can have... Would you like that?
You're a heathen. Thank you, Deon. Deon Swiggs from rebuildchristchurch.co.nz.